Welcome to Kogla, the Titan Ape. I love that. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, we've a little bit of a clunky opener. So let's go ahead and mulligan on this one. And yes, we will keep on this because we've got Forest into Borderland Ranger, Omen of the Hunt. I know, baby, I love having Mana Crypt in my opening hand. But yes, we will keep on this one. And at this point, since we are staring down Gaddock Teague, let's just go and put Overrun on the bottom. Click OK. And then what we're going to do is our opponent's on the play, so we'll let them get this started. But yeah, next turn we're going to be able to go Forest into Mana Crypt. Let me grab my production assistant really quick. Okay, so, oh, there we go. Look at a Soul Ring. Let's go Forest. Sometimes when you just dump out fast mana, people scoop up. Not saying a Gaddock Teague player would, but sometimes that does happen. So we're just going to roll out Mana Crypt because technically we could Soul Ring into this, but we're simply just going to go for Borderland Ranger just to get a person on the battlefield. So enter the battlefield, search your library for a basic land. We're going to grab ourselves a Forest. There we go. Got a bunch of them. And then anything else, we will pass the turn. But yeah, totally could have sequenced that better, getting Soul Ring out and had extra mana. But like I mentioned, sometimes there's been a lot of games where somebody, I'm not saying our opponent will do that, but there's been a lot of games where my opponent just scoops to just a Soul Ring. So, and it's always just like, oh, okay. All right, so let's go choose tails on this one. And lost the flip. We are 0 for 1 on those Mana Crypt triggers. And then we run a Champion of Lambhold. So let's go Forest. Let's go and push in with Borderland Ranger. I think that'll be good. You know, if they want to trade with Pride Mage, I'm totally A-okay with that. So we're going to chip in for 2, knock them down to 28, and then that does keep us open on Dustwatch Recruiter and flashing in. And I guess technically we could have gone for Bear Umbra if we wanted to do that. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's go. Let's have Dustwatch Recruiter enter the battlefield, and that's still going to allow us to leave up Omen in the Hunt. Yeah, I like that. So anything else, pass it over to our opponent. So we are still staring down a Pride Mage. It's going to end up going for either Mana Crypt or Soul Ring. So either way, we're pretty much going to be okay. They'll probably end up targeting Soul Ring, just that way they keep the Mana Crypt trigger on the stack for us. But yes, let's go and cover our commander. So we're playing Kogla, the Titan Ape. Whenever Kogla enters the battlefield, it fights up to one target creature you don't control. Then whenever Kogla attacks, and actually, I don't want to yield through that just in case they go for it. But whenever Kogla attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. Then for a 2-mana activation, return target human you control to its owner's hand. Kogla gains indestructible until end of turn. Playing gets Gaddock Teague. Non-creature spells with converted mana cost 4 or greater can't be cast. Then non-creature spells with X in their mana cost can't be cast. So there we go. That's why we ended up putting Overrun or Stampede on the bottom, because at the good old Gaddock Teague down, we don't really have much of an answer for Gaddock Teague unless we find some. There we go. All right, so that's going to force the issue. Let's go for Omen of the Hunt. That's going to be flashing in an extra land. Oh, yeah. Do you have a response to Kasali Pride Mage? Yes, we do. Let's grab ourselves a basic. Yes, we will use this Omen of the Hunt, and that is going to be a Forest on the battlefield. So we're sitting at 5 mana. If we end up drawing into an extra land next turn with Kogla, that'll actually end up working out pretty well. So let's see if old Gaddock Teague's going to come down. The main thing with Gaddock Teague is they want to keep you locked down very early on, and our opponent doesn't really have a lot of... the fact that we had a backup Mana Crypt to our Soul Ring after that, that's pretty good. So let's go and choose tails on this one. Won the flip, and let's see what we rip into. Run into another Forest. So yeah, I think we just go for Kogla. It's going to fight old Gaddock Teague over there. I kind of like that. We're going to have Kogla jump off the wrestling ring off his crystal tower. Let's fight Gaddock Teague. Let's go and swing. I don't know. I just love him coming down and squishing Gaddock Teague. We're going to swing in for 4, knock them down to 24, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we're actually in a pretty good spot. So we've got Kogla swinging across. That's going to be Kogla. If they do get any sort of enchantment or artifact down, we're going to be able to get rid of it. But opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. We will take that. Unfortunately, when you're playing against stacks decks or stuff like Gaddock Teague, as soon as a stacks player does, I'm not saying this is what our opponent scooped, but a lot of times when you play against a stacks deck, and if they don't have any way to control the game out, then they just scoop. So we will take that as a W, even though our life totals are still pretty high. Kogla squishing Gaddock Teague was more than enough for Gaddock Teague to say, all right, boys, it's time to ship, boys and girls, it's time to ship it up and head home. So anyways, if you enjoyed it, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Kogla, the Titan Ape. I love that. As far as our opening hand goes, I love it. But we've got one land, and that is a Homeward Path. So that is going to be a mulligan. And yes, we will keep on this one. I like it. We don't have any ramp in the hand. I mean, we do have Soul Ring. We don't have any Sorcery Speed ramp, but we can definitely keep on this one. It's going to be Season of Growth. What are we going to put on the bottom for right now? I think, yeah, I think we can put Thunderfoot Baloth down. Yeah, I think that'll work out. I mean, a little far away from that, and then we can find some sort of option late game to kind of go from there. So let's go and lead off with Forest. Yeah, that'll be good. Lead off with Forest. Let's go for Soul Ring. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Kogla, the Titan Ape. I love it. Whenever Kogla enters the battlefield, fights up to one target creature you don't control. Then whenever Kogla attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. Then for a 2-mana activation, return target human you control to its owner's hand. Kogla gains indestructible until end of turn. Playing against Illuna, which we will cover in just a second. So let's go. So we're only going to be on 1 green man. Yeah, I guess at this point, we might as well just go and go for this. So let's go Season of Growth. Yeah, I think that'll be good. We'll go Season of Growth, and then we'll simply just going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing against Illuna, Apex of Wishes. Mutate for 6. Yeah, I know, baby. We're going to get going on it soon. If you heard that, that's my production assistant, Loretta. She's excited about Aluna. Mutate for 6, Flying and Trample. Whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield under your control. So, pretty nifty. Run into Deathwatch Recruiter. Okay, so now we have the production assistant in my lap, so we can get some stuff done. Let's go for Foul Emissary, because at this point, we just need to kind of look at the top part of our library, get something kind of shaken. It would be nice to get another green source, or at least another land. So let's get the Foul Emissary trigger on the stack. Let's get the Season of Growth trigger. Get that Scurry, that Fever. Ooh, Eidolon of Blossoms. Yes, we will leave that on top of our library. And then look at the top 4. We will grab that Eidolon of Blossoms. So there we go. I put those on the bottom in any order, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/Jolt MTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help you kind of chip some mana into my mana pool. So if you do that, hey, much obliged. Also, let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play the new set, it is on Arena and Magic Online. So if you're a Commander fan, hey, looks like you got to get into Magic Online if you want to play the new set until they release it. Also, let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com/Jolt. If you visit there, that will apply my coupon code. Get yourself a playmount and help the channel at the same time. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So there's a link down in the description below. If you'd like to support cool content like this, and hey, if you do, much obliged. All right, if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. So, so we unfortunately kind of in a weird spot. We're not running a lot of colorless lands in here, but unfortunately we've drawn into a lot of them. So we're not going to be able to get a lot of this extra green down. One thing that we may need to do is go for Song of the Dryads on Wasteland, because if we end up doing that, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll kind of open us up on this double green. If we don't hit a green source next turn, I'm not a huge fan of that. So, I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I do like doing this because if we don't hit a green source, then we just don't have much to do later on. So we're going to go for Song of the Dryads. That's going to be a forest now. Let's go for Deathwatch Recruiter. A little bit of a clunky line of play, but hey, that's kind of one of those things you got to do if you're not hitting a green source. So, then Mana Crypt. Let's actually, as much as I love that, let's just go and put that on the bottom for right now. And then anything else, let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. Yeah, our opponent's got Tatyova over there, so as soon as they start making their land drops, that's going to be some card draw and some life gain, and that's going to be pretty hard to deal with. So hopefully if we can get down Eidolon of Blossoms and maybe run into a few more enchantments, that'll really allow us to kind of get the card draw going, and then hopefully old Kogla over there can fight Tatyova. He jumps off his crystal tower and punches Tatyova in the face. So Tatyova tries to sound the Simic alarms, but Kogla says, no, I hate those alarms. But yeah, as far as the actual Kogla deck itself, this is kind of like this weird human tribal hybrid. I don't know. I've got a lot of not tribal, but a lot of Enchantress pieces in here, and that we can draw a bunch of cards. And we are going to see the mutate option on a Tatyova. So that's going to be Oracle that they flip off the top part of the library. Now, what I'm doing with, oh, look at that, it's just Value Town. I love it. I am in the process of building Illuna, so it's just kind of one of those commanders that I just wanted to get a feel for it, kind of play against it a couple times to kind of see what people are doing, and so just to kind of figure out where I want to take it. Because when I see Kogla, I'm like, all right, we can go humans, enchanters, whatever that may be. Flying and trample, yes, that is correct. So there's nothing we can do about that one. Swinging in for 6, and that's going to put us down to 24. But yeah, with Aluna, it's kind of one of those like, yeah, let's just kind of see a little bit of gameplay to see where we want to end up taking the deck. So let's go for Eidolon of Blossoms. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to cast Wild Growth just yet, but at least we're going to give it a shot because that's going to be an extra card draw. So let's get the Eidolon trigger on the stack first. Let's go for the Scry and the Scurry. Oh, yes. We definitely want that because that'll be an additional card draw. So we're going to draw into that other forest. Let's have the forest come down. Let's go for Wild Growth onto, I guess, Yavimaya Hollow. Actually, I'm just going to put it onto this forest because either way, you're going to be drawing some cards when the enchantment hits the battlefield. So let's cash in a card draw with Eidolon of Blossom, Beast Whisper. Okay. And then anything else. I guess we just go and swing the entire, well, we can swing in Dustwatch Recruiter. If we want to trade with the Oracle, we're pretty much cool with that. So getting it for 2, put them down to 30, and then anything else, pass it over to our opponent. So, but yeah, basically the core of the deck with this Kogla deck, it is Enchantress, card draw, with a bunch of humans in there. So technically Beast Whisper is an elf druid. Looks like a human to me, but that would have been nice. But some of the Enchantress pieces that allow you to draw cards, they're humans. So that actually ends up working out really well with Kogla. It's going to be some good early game card draw. And it, got Cyclonic Rift on top. But it also helps us just kind of get some sort of board state established and keep that card draw consistent. The other cool thing is we're also running a lot of humans that interact with enter the battlefield effects. So let's say that we have something... Actually, let's let them swing in. That's going to be... Oh, goodness. Look at this damage. Okay, that's going to be 13 commander damage and 14 total life total. They are sitting at 7/7, so if they mutate again, and we don't, which what they're doing right now, and if we don't have an option to get rid of Illuna, then we may be in a pretty rough spot. So we'll see what we can do about this one. Okay, so they end up going for the parrot mutate, which I just absolutely love describing that in Magic, and then we run into Werebear, which is actually a human. So at this point, we don't have any enchantments that we can go for. We're looking at 7 in the air. There's no way that we can stop this. So just to save them a combat step, we're going to go and scoop up on this one. But good game to our opponent. You can see how good, man, I'm like 0 for 3 against Illuna. I know it depends on what deck I'm playing, but hey, that's just kind of how Magic goes sometimes. But yeah, we got off to a pretty good start. It was kind of weird getting bottlenecked on green mana. But you can see though, if we didn't have a flying threat in the air, just breathing down our life total and our command power, or commander damage, this might have been a different game, but that's how Magic goes sometimes. Our opponent had a big flying threat, and we had no answer for it, and that allowed them to close the game out. So, anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks, bye. Welcome to Kogla, the Titan Ape. As far as our opening hand goes, looks beautiful, got some beautiful art, but there are no lands, so we're going to have to ship this one back. It's going to be Forest, Arch. Yeah, we can keep on this one. A little clunky with some utility lands, but I really do like Champion, so we'll keep on this one. And let's see, yeah, we'll definitely put old Crater Hoof on the bottom. We're not really ready to hoof it up yet, so click OK. Let's go and lead off with, I guess, Forest at this point, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We are playing Kogla, the Titan Ape. So whenever Kogla enters the battlefield, it fires up to 1 target creature you don't control. Then whenever Kogla attacks, destroys target artifact or equipment defending player controls. Then for a 2-mana activation, return target human you control to its owner's hand. Kogla gains indestructible until end of turn. Oh, hey! There we go. Our opponent is a friend of the channel, so very nice. Best of luck to them. Hopefully we have some fun. Playing against Queen Marchesa. Death Touch and Haste. Whenever Queen Marchesa enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent is the Monarch, create a 1/1 black assassin creature token with Death Touch and Haste. Very nice cover of the commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors. TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/Jolt MTG, that will apply my cube. Oh, there we go. Hit a green source. I like it. I think at this point, we'll probably just end up going Forest and just tapping down on one of our forests. I think that'll be good. We just want to get this enchantment on the battlefield. It's going to give us some extra devotion for Nykthos and just make it a little bit easier for us to power out this Eidolon of Blossoms. But yes, check out TCG Player. If you use that code, that'll allow you to chip some extra mana to my mana pool. And if you do that, hey, much obliged. Also, let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play the brand new set, the only way is Arena and MTGO. So hop on there, have some fun, build some commander decks. Also, let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. If you're in the market for a playmat, head on over there, inkgaming.com/jolt. So that's going to be Bitter Blossom coming down. So hopefully it'll be a little bit of a grindier match. Let's go for, let's go Nykthos. I think that'll work out. So that's going to be 4 total mana. Yeah, I like this. So if we actually have no follow-up play with Eidolon of Blossom, at least with the champion. Yeah, let's do it like this. So let's go for champion, because that also allows us to go for Lana War Elves. I like that a little bit better. So that's going to be champion on the battlefield. That's going to be a Lana War Elves. It's going to help us get a little ahead on mana, and then anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. Get your name in the credits and help support cool content like this. So there we go. If you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. So, but yeah, I think we wanted to hold on with the Eidolon of Blossoms because at least it's going to trigger champion next turn whenever enchantment enters the battlefield. And then also, whenever we cast an enchantment, excuse me, never mind. If we were to cast an enchantment, oh man, we got one hit KO on this one. Lightning Bolt followed up by Thoughtseize. Also, I will say this deck, I've been playing it, and I'm going to be honest, it's a little clunky. It's kind of one of those, like, you have an idea and you're like, all right, this will work out. And then you kind of go into practice and it doesn't really make that transition sometimes. And so it is definitely interesting. I'll kind of talk about that here in a second. Let's go lead off with Arch. That's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can actually end up going for Kogla. I mean, that could leave us up with we basically either go Harmonize or just kind of get the clock going with Kogla. And I think I kind of like that. We're gonna, let's see if they get down Queen Marchesa. No, if they're gonna fight, that Death Touch damage does actually make a difference. Yeah, let's just get Kogla on the battlefield, then we just go for Harmonize. It's also really going to help us kind of power out Devotion if Kogla does stick around. So let's go ahead and fight this Fairy Rogue. Every time we cast Kogla out of the command zone, I always imagine him jumping off that crystal like a wrestling match and just smashing whatever. We smashed Gaddock Teague the other day, and that just really had me tickled. But yeah, as far as the deck goes, kind of the core concept that we're going for is going to have these utility humans that we can return to our hand, and then also get those nice enter the battlefield effects, and also give Kogla indestructible too. So we have Ranger, Borderland Rangers enter the battlefield, allows us to find a basic. The main thing is that it is a human, so we'll interact in that. And basically just kind of like your mono green ramp deck, and then there's a little bit of Enchantress in here because like with a champion, this one is a human actually. So you're going to get that card draw and get that +1 counter on champion, which is very nice. So I ended up kind of building this Enchantress mono green something deck, and it's a little clunky. So long story short, giving you heads up, if I kind of hobble together 2 kind of weird videos, this is a deck in progress, very much. So we saw no removal from our opponent, so I kind of like that. Let's go and push in with Kogla. That's going to allow us to pop a Bitter Blossom, whatever it attacks. Yeah, I like this a lot. So we are a little bit worried about blind. Oh, Path to Exile. We spoke too soon. All right, so it's going to be Path to Exile. We will welcome that force. That'll be nice to have that on the battlefield. Let's put Forest onto the battlefield, and I think at this point, because we are still sitting at 2 Devotion, let's end up going for, I think, Harmonize. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and that still keeps us open on tapping down for Lana War Elf. So let's go Harmonize. Let's draw 3 cards to make the land drop for the turn. And then let's go for Enchantress, because we do have some really good utility enchantments in here too. So that way, if we do draw into one of our enchantments, that'll put us in a good spot. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So yeah, it's just kind of this weird mix of Enchantress, have Kogla jump off of his crystal tower and smash somebody and then just start going to town. We do have a few different auras in here that kind of actually work out really well with Kogla. We've got Rancor, we've got some of the different Umbras in here, kind of just real low-cost Umbras, because, our commander is sick. So by the time you're going for Voltron, you're trying to get Kogla on the battlefield, stick an aura on there. Yeah, that's a lot of mana. So want to keep some of those auras kind of low to the ground. We've got Rancor in here. We've got the Umbra, like I mentioned. Oh, Canopy Cover. I love Canopy Cover. So it's going to, in this board state, the Fairy Rogues could block. But there's a lot of times that with Canopy Cover, it's going to give basically Kogla Shroud from your opponent, and it can only be blocked by flying creatures. So, especially playing against Queen Marchesa, we've already seen Lightning Bolt, we got hit with Path to Exile, Thoughtseize. Simply being able to stick Canopy Cover onto Kogla, give it flying basically in a weird way, and then, all right, we got we got hit with the Inquisition of Kozilek. But yeah, so and then also sometimes when I build a new commander deck, there are some times to where we just run into like these kind of control heavy decks sometimes. And like if I were to build Queen Marchesa, I would build it the exact same way. This is a very good build of Queen Marchesa. I'm not knocking our opponent. I'm just saying sometimes when you have a lower power deck, sometimes it doesn't showcase very well against a deck that's actually packing good stuff in there. So that just happens. All right, so we do have the City's Blessing online. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. We're at 3 devotion for Kogla. Yeah, let's just try to give Kogla another shot. They're sitting at 3 total cards in the hand, so I think that'll work out. Okay, so let's have Kogla enter the battlefield. He's going to squish another fairy. And that actually will end up clearing the way for Mono War Elves to swing in. So let's go and go for that. And we could let a Grothian Enchantress swing in, but we're going to hold her back. So swinging in from 1, that's going to knock him down to 20. Every point of damage matters. We got Crater Hoof coming down, so we might be able to hobble something together on our side of the battlefield. But yeah, it's just kind of this weird mix of just card draw with enchantments and kind of seeing what you can do. But now that I've kind of played a couple games with it, because we also do have Azusa in here, so you're trying to make these extra land drops. I think this Kogla is definitely kind of more suited to kind of like a mono green control deck. So I might end up kind of reworking it, getting rid of that Enchantress piece because Kogla actually just works good out of the command zone. I mean, it just gets rid of a creature when it enters the battlefield, and then you just give it some boots and it starts destroying things. So you can almost kind of have your mono green shell just kind of be whatever you want. So if you come to this video looking to build Kogla, just build a mono green good deck. I think that's what we might end up transitioning this to. But I love card draw, so and if I can jam Enchantress into a deck, I'm definitely going to jam it. So opponent's going to get down Temple of Malice. Let them get this Scry going. And then, ooh, this might actually be a board wipe. If it is, it's not the end of the world. Okay, Toxic Deluge for 6. So that's going to get rid of the entire crew. We are tapped out on Kogla mana, so we actually need to get ahead too on Kogla to recast Kogla. But let's see what we've got going on. We also do have an open arch too to go for some card draw. I think we might end up doing that. So let's cash in a card draw. And then we do hit the land drop for the turn. That is good. And then anything else? Yeah, I guess we'll simply just going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we do have Wolf Willow Haven activation. We can actually get a 2/2 Wolf if we want to. But I think at this point, we're just going to leave Haven over there. That way we can have old Kogla come down. One of the other themes that we do have in here is kind of like this nice enter the battlefield effect. We got Path of Discovery and Guardian Project, and that's just really going to help you late game because you are playing mono green, and there are going to be some times to where you just have this huge amount of mana. And so simply being able to bring these creatures back to your hand, recast them, get the Guardian Project triggers, that's one of the ways that you can make up for the lack of card draw in green is by running a lot of enter the battlefield effects. So that's another option that you can go for. And also with Kogla, you don't have to run like a heavy package for that. You can simply just toss those in there and just toss some value creatures. They need to be huge. All right, so we're running into Mana Crypt. Yeah, let's go for it. This is going to be pretty good. So let's go Kogla. Oh yeah, I forgot it enters battlefield. Can't do that. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait on that. Oh, that's a bummer. Blind Obedience. I know it always taps down creatures, but I always forget about the artifact part. So, still looking okay. We are staring down at least 4 coming across. It's gonna put us down to 19. Not really worried about commander damage at this point right now, but they are kind of sitting back with some cards in their hand. So hopefully we can develop some sort of threat on the battlefield and maybe followed it up with Crater Hoof. Yeah, it's gonna be a little suspect on this one. So, but yeah, I think with my build of Kogla on this one, I think we've just got too many different competing kind of packages in here. Typically, you want to have something that's streamlined and really efficient. That way, you can just really, cash in some value. But with this deck, it's almost like we don't have enough Enchantress pieces, and then we're just getting hit with a bunch of removal. So that's how Magic goes, though, sometimes. So let's see what else they're tapping out for. And that's going to be Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis. Okay. We'll see if they end up going for the tokens on this one. The only good thing is that they are tapped out now, so that kind of frees us up next turn to go for something, potentially getting down Kogla, and then hopefully having it stick around. Now with the Elspeth, I'm not super familiar with it, so it's up to 2 target creatures get +2/+1. Okay, so we do need to keep that in mind. Let's go and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. Oh yeah, won the flip on that. And then let's see, we draw into Homeward Path. So, well, it's a land drop. So let's go for Kogla and just keep our fingers crossed that our opponent does not have spot removal. That is going to be very important. So it's going to be 1, 2, and poor, poor Kogla, he's tired of going to the gulag a bunch too. Let's do 1, 2, 3. And yeah, we'll just go and tap down Arch. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, so we're going to have Kogla enter the battlefield. Let's go and have it fight one of the flying creatures. We're going to fight this fairy rogue. To my knowledge, when you fight, that does include death touch damage. And so if we have Queen Marchesa fight Kogla, that's going to get rid of Kogla. So I'm pretty sure that's how it plays out. But with Queen Marchesa having haze, it's kind of one of those, just let her stick around on the battlefield. So if we are worried about swinging into Queen Marchesa, we still have Heroic Intervention that we could potentially try to sequence in some sort of weird combat step. We might end up going for this Wolf Willow Haven if our opponent doesn't get rid of any of our stuff. Get rid of Kogla, and we untap with Kogla. We might need to follow up with getting just a token on the battlefield to get some sort of bonus for Craterhoof. Outside of Craterhoof, we do have Kamal, which actually does work out really well with Kogla's return ability. And plus, if you can run Kamal in a mono green deck, that's always a lot of fun because, let's say our opponent does end up going for Toxic Deluge. So we have Kamal on the battlefield, we have extra green mana. It's kind of like board wipe insurance because if our opponent does go for Toxic Deluge, we go for Kamal activation, turn their lands into 1/1s, and that's going to get rid of them. So that's one of the cool ways that you can kind of use mono green to your favor in like, all right, if you want to go for board wipe, let's bring this down because you can always kind of rebuild a little bit quicker with mono green. So all right, let's see who's going to be swinging in. Looks like we've got at least 8 coming across, and that will be 10. That's going to put us down to 9, and then let's see what's in store for us. They are passing with a bunch of open mana potentially. Okay, that's going to be Talisman. And our opponent is paying for those extort triggers too off of that. Okay, so we're going to have another Mana Vault extort trigger. I'm trying to figure out what we can draw into. We almost need to get some sort of way to get some bodies on the battlefield just to kind of pump up Craterhoof. Yeah, because we're not going to be able to survive until next turn. Man, I just don't know. Now, we do have the option of potentially getting a pretty good chunk of mana with Kogla on the battlefield, Craterhoof, and using Nykthos. So we'll see if that's something that we can go for. Now, if they do end up going for Sorin, we can... Okay, let's see if they end up going for Sorin. -6. We can always go for Heroic Intervention in response to that. Okay, and just... and to quote Eli, he always has it. So there we go. Let's go Heroic Intervention. That's going to make our creatures hexproof and indestructible. I don't know if we can close it out next turn, but we're going to try to jam a Craterhoof next turn and see what sort of combat damage we can come up with. So, I also forgot that it's going to enter the battlefield tapped because of Blind Obedience. So we may not be able to close this one out, though. Let's see what we draw into, though. Crazier things have happened. Let's go and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt. Won the flip. And then we draw into a forest. So, okay, so we get forest down. Yeah, I guess we can do some stuff in response to triggers. Let's just see what we can do. So let's go 1, 2. Let's go ahead and cast Craterhoof. Okay, so in response to that trigger, let's add Nykthos Devotion mana to our mana pool. That's going to be 1, 2. That's going to be 7 total mana. Let's go for the activation off of this. So we're going to get a wolf token on the battlefield. I don't think it's going to be enough to kind of pump this up, but just kind of showcasing what we could potentially kind of sequence. So, all right, we're going to be able to get 10 damage on the battlefield. We are looking at 18 if that Blind Obedience isn't over there, but hey, that's how Magic goes sometimes. So, all right, so we're going to swing in for 10. That's not going to knock our opponent down to 5. And yeah, I guess we'll just get rid of Bitter Blossom. Yeah, it's probably not going to matter. We'll just get rid of Blind Obedience because it's been a pain in our butt all game. So, all right, so we get rid of Blind Obedience, swing in for 10. That's going to knock them down to 5, and then we will pass the turn over to our opponent. They're going to be able to swing in at least with Fairy Rogue in the air, the other Fairy Rogue, and that's going to be 2. Now, we do get a card draw, but Diviner's not going to get this one done. Okay, so they got the Mana Vault trigger. They go down to 3, but that is going to be a good game. So good game to our opponent. I always enjoy playing against the control deck. You know, when I was talking about it earlier, I wasn't kind of hating on our opponent's deck. I was just basically saying, you know, sometimes when you have a weaker deck and you play against a deck that actually just comes prepared for anything, it's always hard to kind of showcase some stuff. But also with the deck, I think I'm going to change it into more of like a mono green just value build. I think Kogla is just really good out of the command zone, and trying to kind of force this Voltron with Kogla is probably not where it is at. So, but anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.